Shalom, and welcome to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul, your Biblical Hebrew podcast.
So, we're back today here with the old format of conversational podcast, like we started back in the days. And
Good morning.
Good morning, Etty. We're both here in the studio, or to be fair, both in our separate studios to comply with our social distancing rules here. And yeah, these are strange times, very strange times. Passover is coming up in about 10 days here in Israel. Mm-hmm. This is usually a time where people prepare, buying tons of food, getting all the invitations ready for the family, extended family. But it looks like this Passover is going to be slightly different. And
why?
Right. Why? Because a virus is threatening all of humanity at the moment. And it's not recommended for people to make big parties this year. But I wanted to ask you a few things. Because yes. Passover traditionally is like the holiday of freedom. If there's like one word that I could think of at least that Passover or Pesach is all about, it's freedom, right? Freedom from slavery. Freedom. Human freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting to think about this topic from this perspective right now, because what freedom? I mean, half of the world, or more than half, is in lockdown. Here in Israel, we have also lockdown. The streets are empty. You see not as many cars on the streets. It's what kind of freedom are we talking about? If Passover is now starting to take place, and I can already see this in my mind that these long Seder tables, right, where the whole family sits, I can see in my mind, and many people will celebrate it like this year. They'll just put laptops instead of the faces of their relatives, and you have like here one laptop and there another laptop, and so it's going to be a pretty virtual Passover this year. So Passover, the celebrating freedom from quarantine, that all sounds a bit strange, right?
It is. Seems at the first stage is weird or strange or unusual. But this is basically freedom, because our conception, we conceive people as bodies. Most of the population of the world sees people as bodies, not as carriers of divine spirit or divine soul. Usually people relate to people if they see them, if they can touch them, if they can sense them.
Right.
And this is a very, very good exercise for us also from now on. There's a new 2020 is opening a new decade. This is a very interesting decade in our humanity here on earth, because
nobody expected that, that's for sure.
Yes, it's a very good surprise because life will be now different from the ones that we used to live them in the 20th century and the beginning in the 21st century. Things will not remain the same.
So if I can interrupt you, sorry.
Yes, there is a great revolution here. People will not rely anymore on systems. People will not go to hospitals anymore, because systems can not supply the population of the world, which now conceive of 8 billion people. Systems could not serve them. People will have to be more independent and take care of more responsibility. We cannot hang here around on the globe without mindfulness, like we're walking in the 4th century to Christ, like it's the Justinianus Day. It's ain't. We are 8 billion people, and we need to share, and we need to give respect to each other.
So what you were saying, 7.8 billion, yeah, I just Googled it. Pretty close to 8 billion, wow.
This is 7.8. This is a very interesting number because it also has the volume 78, not 7.8, but 78 has the volume of mercy.
Right,
Mercy.
but Etty, if I can stop you there for a second. What you were saying, that this whole crisis seemingly is basically an opportunity for humanity to see ourselves as something which is not just physical. Did I get that right?
Yes.
So we
Yes,
usually
people-
see ourselves as this physical entity that walks around, and you say, hey, there's, I don't know, Peter. Look, there's Peter, he's walking around. But then when you talk with Peter on Skype, is Peter still with you? Or is it like virtual? Right? We seem to be struggling with this whole idea of
Virtual virus. This is
well,
very
the virus is
interesting.
real, unfortunately.
But look at the linguistic relation between virtual and virus.
I'm not
This,
sure about the etymology. I would have to look that up.
But you can look at. But this is the virus is in a way opens the gate for us as humanity to a new reality.
So it's an opportunity to think what is the human spirit in general, right?
Yes, we're not just bodies. People are very happy when babies are being born to this life. There's something that they can touch, they can hug, they can feed. They give it a lot of importance. Not that I don't have respect personally to new life here on planet, to even to babies, birds, and so I do have respect. But people respect only the things that they can sense in their senses.
Right. So when there's lots of people, lots of warm bodies, in quotation marks, around a person, you feel that you are like around people, right? And when the people are absent, they're not close to you physically, you might feel lonely. That's something I think that many people experience right now, that like you can't visit your grandparents just to protect your grandparents, first of all. Grandparents can't visit their grandchildren, can't visit friends. So a lot of people are, I think, struggling with this at the moment all over the world, that even if we're not sick personally, it's like, where are all our friends? Where is the society, right?
Everybody in his or her place where they should be, but not as bodies. This is an exercise. Also in the biblical story, we read that before the 10th plague came, there was a restriction not to leave the house.
Really?
For
I didn't
a
know
reason.
that.
Yes, the 10th plague. You can open Exodus 12. Can you open it?
1 second, let me check it out. Lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning.
Until the morning. There you have it. We don't leave the house until the morning. And the morning here is not morning, which is a day. Because what is morning? Boker, when the light comes.
Right, after the darkness, right?
So the darkness now is not just one night, because we usually look at the Bible materialistically and we say it's night, 12 hours of darkness, or day, 12 hours of light. But when the Bible speaks about darkness and light, it's not what we count today on our watch and clocks. It's something completely different. So now, because there is a darkness, we are not allowed to leave our house. The sun is outside. The clock says this is a day.
Here, by the way.
It's a beautiful day, but it's in a way a night, because there is a coverage for the body. The body is not going outside. It's a night of the body, but it's the morning of the soul. The soul can be born from the darkness. When we limit the bodies.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, please.
I was just thinking of this old term, the dark night of the soul. Right? The idea is true. In a way, this whole crisis at the moment, this global crisis, forms a kind of like a darkness for us, right? Whether it's a darkness for
darkness
the body
of the
or,
body, for multiplicity. People cannot hang out more in the malls. So, yes, basically, we have to restrict our bodily activity.
right, and it's hard.
That the soul, because there is an opposite relation between the soul and the body. It's like elevator. When the body wants to govern, when we want to control other people, this is the body controlling. The soul is ascending. The soul is ashamed from this situation. The soul is ascending, and it's hidden, and it's in concealment. The more the body was controlled, the soul is being crunched.
The soul is ashamed,
upstairs.
you said?
But of course, the soul is ashamed.
I've heard it before, when they speak about like the on the Sabbath, like the wine and the bread. Isn't there something that they say that
they cover the bread? We cover the bread. That yes.
Isn't that
the
also
soul?
The bread is ashamed or something of the wine, or how was that?
The wine is a symbol for the revealed world. The revealed world, wine. It's red. It has colors. And the bread is the concealed, because the bread is the tree in this, not the bread is tree of life. So it's concealed. We go in life, we suddenly make decisions, things are happening, we don't know. Tree of life is always the unknown. This is why the bread is covered. The tree of life is always in concealment. When it's time of the revealed, the body, the flesh, the wine, the actions, the soul is hidden.
Why?
And when there's opposite relation between the soul and the body, the soul is the light and the body is the darkness.
Okay. So, and the soul, in a way, it sees the darkness of the body, is what you're saying.
Yes. And when it experiences the darkness and the soul sees unpleasant situation, the soul is hidden and craved more and more and more inside from shame.
Okay, so it like says sort of like, if you want to turn it into a bit of a cartoon, the soul kind of covers his eyes and says like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to be connected to this, right?
Yes. So we see sometimes embarrassment situation in public, and we are ashamed sometimes for other people that are in the situation.
Right.
Sometimes we are yes.
In German, we have a nice word for this. It's called Fremdschämen. When you're embarrassed for somebody else.
But yes, it's not nice to see this.
Yeah. So you say that the soul is in a constant mode, in a way of being sort of face palming, or being slightly ashamed of what the body is doing or how it's existing.
This is why the cherubim, remember,
the cherubs,
their wings, they were covered, their wings were covering on their faces.
Really?
The soul is always hidden. The soul is always hidden, like in the cherubim, their wings are covering. Yes. Tree of life is always covered.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, this is a very complex topic, and it's just like a little general conversation here. And these topics, these ideas, these concepts of concealment and revelation are very central issues in the Hebrew tradition, which later, of course, also in Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think this is one way to frame what's going on at the moment. In a way, this is a great period of concealment, right? That all of us are humanity is going through some kind of a tunnel. We don't know exactly when we'll go out of that tunnel, how long we'll be in this. So which maybe makes it all the more important to, so to speak, to stay in the metaphor, to look at the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yes, because now when people we are locked down at home, the future is already being made in laboratories, in school. All the way of life that we used to know before the corona will be different. We shall be awakened to a different world.
Hopefully. I mean,
when people say, "Oh, the world is ending," it's not the world is ending, but bad habits are ending. Not the world is ending. The sun and the moon in their places, the oceans, the trees, everything in its place.
it's beautiful, actually. These times when you wake up in the morning, like I tend to hear the birds before I hear the cars. So that's one thing I noticed.
And look at Haifa Bay. There's no air pollution.
Right.
We used to struggle so much with air pollution here. And it's so clear. And the animals are happy.
For sure.
Yeah, so we just have to be in place, you know?
If I can extend what you've been trying to say, it's like, if I understood you correctly, it's what is going on is not really a concealment of the spirit, so to speak, but a concealment of our physical reality as physical entities in three-dimensional space. This is what's being restricted, because our thought is not restricted from this. We can think whatever we want to think. We can imagine whatever we want to imagine. It's just that physically, right? We can't go to parties, can't visit the family, and so on and so forth. Which, by the way, it's good that there are these regulations in place, and I hope all of our listeners are trying to stay at home as well and keeping safe.
It's like, in a way, if I can use the biblical metaphor, the binding of Isaac. We are binded.
Right.
But the soul can express itself, because when bodies are running, we're always occupied with mechanical activity. Bring the children, put them, take them, go to the supermarket, and we call this life. This is not life. Running to the supermarket.
Well, it's part of life, right?
Yeah, but this is not. It should not hide the existence of the soul. The soul is connecting all of us. The soul wants to help others, and this is the time in which the soul wants to express itself.
One thing I noticed, is that through the internet, there's a lot more connection going on at the moment, which is definitely a positive thing. So, like, there are all kinds of ways to connect that are beyond just physically meeting. So it's not that this is such a problem that we only can meet other people if we physically are together.
Yes, we have the internet more than 20 years. More than 20 years there's internet, more than 2 decades, and we're not using it as it should. What does it mean? We don't need to use many facilities. We can do everything from remote, like medicine. The medicine will jump in the next 2 years that in a way that we don't even imagine.
Right. It's hard to predict at the moment what will happen, exactly how long this will continue. So, but I think one of the most important things, apart from just like having a daily routine, is just to maintain one's mood, right? To go through this global crisis with a kind of mindset that is optimistic, to say the least.
Yes.
Or constructive, that we don't put ourselves down because of this and say, "Oh man, that's all so terrible. What's going on?" And yes, there are things. These are not easy situations. People are dying. People are getting infected. People are locked at home. People are losing their jobs. These are not things that you would wish for, right?
No, but we have to look, if I may say. People who are leaving this world will return in a new phase. Nothing is lack. They will return as new children to the new life. People who are at the moment sick, they will be healed. Nothing is gone. Economy will shift. Economy will shift. It's not the time of the bull, like rice
The
bull.
stock exchange bull, you mean?
Yes, it's not the times of the bull now. It's a bit different. We just convert our lenses. Nothing is gone. It's just a great shift. This is the shift in a way that the prophets were speaking about. I don't want to go into it, but it's not the time now. But don't be afraid. This is just a change. And we have to flow with the change.
Right, and maybe there is, after all, a great freedom hiding in all of this.
There's a great freedom hiding because people will take more responsibility of their lives and of their health. People will grow very deep awareness and care for the other, and this is a beautiful time for the soul. It's darkness for the body, but
Right.
It's a beautiful day of the soul. And so it will continue to the next decade, because this is the opening of the next decade. And the next decade, the next 10 years will be so different that it's hard to imagine at the moment. But it's good, and only good is waiting for us. So let's be patient.
Yeah, so on that positive note, thank you for giving us a bit of perspective from
Thank you.
the ancient Hebrew tradition. And yeah, stay safe, everyone out there. Take care of yourselves. And we're going to get through this.
Yes, good luck and happy spring and happy decade.
Yeah, and happy Passover.
Thank you for listening to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to hear more about a certain topic, just write us an email to hebrew@learnoutlive.com. We're always happy to hear from you. For more episodes, videos, and articles like this, please visit our website at hebrew.learnoutlive.com. We also would like to invite you to join our live classes. Just search for Online College of Biblical Hebrew on Facebook and start learning now with students from all over the world. Koltuv and Shalom.